Well, hello everyone, Texie88 here, and welcome to another review. And now we're taking a look at a ZX Spectrum game that was actually released in 2015 and published by Rewind Team. Here's their logo. And it's actually a Castlevania game on the Spectrum. So here's the introductory blurb for this one. And this does, as you probably guessed, have links to existing Castlevania games on released previously, primarily on Sega's and Nintendo's consoles, and a lot of them usually involved one member of the Belmont family, normally armed with a whip, and occasionally secondary weapons, usually going up against Count Dracula. And this is a 128k only game, so if you've only got a rubber keyed Spectrum or Spectrum Plus, you're not going to be able to play this, unfortunately. Not on those machines. 128k only here. And the programmers of this are all from Russia, from what I can make out, and from what I can make out, it also looks like this was actually considered the third best game in a retro games battle that took place in 2014. So congratulations to them for achieving that that prestigious award. I mean, even coming 30 is quite an achievement. And although it was programmed by Russians, it was translated into English, Italian, Polish and Spanish as well. So let's start a new game. And you can choose whether it's normal or hard. So we got our character being insulted already by being called Mr. Failmont. So you get dialogue exchanges like this. So on that basis, it probably takes inspiration for this game. Probably takes more cues from something like, say, Castlevania 2: Simon's Quest, which took a more RPG approach instead of just being largely action orientated, so the way a lot of the other games are. But that doesn't mean this is bereft of action. Far from it. Occasional mistyping, such as what was at the very end there. So, as in other games, my character's primary weapon is a whip. Initially, it's just a leathery whip, but it's possible to, if you find a chain link somewhere and manage to collect it and take it back to a blacksmith in a village, then you'll be able to power up the whip, not only by making it longer, but also making it generally more damaging than it currently is. I mean, admittedly, these are being defeated with just one hit, but you will come up against tougher enemies later. So just to clarify, in the top middle of the screen, you've got any secondary weapon. Obviously, I haven't got one at the moment. And in the top left corner, there's the type and length of whip you've currently got as the bottom, and the bar above that is how much health you've got. as in other Castlevania games, you've got candles and the like on the wall, which you can hit, and sometimes they'll drop goodies, and other times not so much. For the sake of this review, I'm going to load. And to pick up an object like that, you just press down whilst on top of it. For the purpose of this review, I'm largely going to be skipping through this. If you want to read all this, you can always repeatedly pause the video on playback and have a look. As I say, you do get the occasional grammatical error or spelling error, but all things considered, I found very few faults with the translations. It's not like a case of all your base are belong to us or anything like as bad as that. And as you can see, I've lost a bit of my health. You can see my bar in the top left corner has gone down a bit because of that knock I took from that skeleton. Which also highlights, as you can see, there was a gap between me and that skeleton, which brings me on to the first problem I have with this game. The hit detection is iffy. I mean, sometimes that works in your favour as well, but particularly when you come up against bosses, it does get a bit of frustrating if the game thinks you took a hit when there's clearly a gap between you and whatever supposedly hit you. I definitely didn't touch that skeleton when that supposedly hit me. There was a gap. Oh yeah, and in the top right corner is how much gold you've currently got. That can be quite important because now in that village I mentioned earlier, and you've got the friendly townsfolk here. Any open doors you can walk through like this. And these statues will be a godsend to you during your journey, as you can see by what Joseph is saying here. All you got to do is, I'm not going to do it just yet, I'm going to see what's in the... Oh, I can't reach those, I can't jump high enough. So if you press down when you're next to one, notice how all the things around it are suddenly not there anymore. The moment you've done that, you know that you're going to go back there if you die, bearing in mind that in this Castlevania game you only get one life. Yeah, as in previous Castlevania games, you really don't want to be falling in water. This guy hasn't learned how to swim any more than he did in previous games. Yeah, skipping through all this again. If you want to read all this, you can just pause it, and we can get to a bit where you can actually buy weapons. You don't actually collect weapons in game during this, so you have to buy them. As you can see now in the top middle, I've got a dagger as a secondary weapon, and I can throw one. I can throw a secondary weapon by pressing the M button, and if you've collected it, the more hearts you've collected, the more of that particular item. There was just a heart in that lamp just now. And there's the blacksmith. At the moment, his door's shut, and it'll remain shut until such time as I pick up a chain link, like I mentioned earlier. So I just picked up a heart there. Unlike in most other games outside the Castlevania series, hearts are actually how much ammo you've got for secondary weapons. So you really want to be picking up several of those. And this piece here, which I've just picked up, is part of a broken altar. And if you can find a place where you need to take that, which will be the same colour as the piece, in this case blue, then you'll be able to fight a boss. And it's very hard to see, but just below and to the left of how much money I've got in the top right corner, you can see a small blue piece of the. See here, it's starting to get enemies that take more than one hit. But anyway, you can see a bit of the blue piece of altar that I've just picked up. And anyone who's played previous Castlevania games will recognise this tune as it's in them. So. Oh, damn it, I'm dead. So I'm going to go back to that. So as I said, you only get one life, but you go back to the statue that you most recently prayed at with whatever you had at the time of saving. So I haven't got those daggers anymore. Yes, blah, blah, blah. Give me a weapon. That way I'll be able to... So if you want to use a secondary weapon, you just press the M button. I'm going to press it now so you see what it's like. But one thing I don't understand is why it didn't... I only pressed the M button once and it threw a knife, but my quantity of it was 10 and now it's down to 7. Well, 8 now because I just this moment picked up another heart. But why did it go down by 3? I've even had it sometimes go down by 5. That needed fixing. It should only go down by 1 like in other Castlevania games. And if you manage to pick up any others, you can press buttons to cycle through them. If you press the 1 or 2 buttons, you can cycle to the previous or next weapon if you've got multiple secondary weapons to pick from. So if you bought any of the others, once you've got enough money, then that's what you do in order to select the weapon you particularly want. As in other Castlevania games, if you don't collect things like these coins quickly enough, they do eventually disappear. So ideally, you want to pick them up quickly before they do disappear, otherwise you'll lose them irretrievably. And as you can see, as in previous games in the series, you can just drop off stairs, but you don't press down and fire the wood the way you might in other games in the series. What you instead need to do is press down twice in quick succession, like that. That can be a blessing and a curse, because in some cases, if you, in anticipation, you might press it twice inadvertently and fall through a platform that you didn't particularly want to. Here's another altar piece there, this time a red one. So now I've got a red altar piece showing below my... When it comes to those spikes, they don't kill you per se, but it'll put you back to the point where you enter the room. Any enemies that you defeated will be back in play, and you'll also lose some of your health. So it'll only be a game over if landing on spikes took your last bit of health from you. Here's a chain link. Again, I'm going to skip through all this. As you can see, as in previous games in the series, you get some enemies that throw projectiles at you. And another thing that praying at those statues does is give you back all of your lost health, so it totally fills your energy bar if you manage to find another. I didn't quite jump far enough along, so had I been able to get to get back to the village with that chain piece. That blacksmith shop that you saw earlier the door would have been open, and all I would have needed is 30 gold coins for him to be able to potentially make my whip longer and more powerful. In that room that had the skeleton throwing its bones at me, you'll probably also notice a cyan coloured altar piece on the bottom right, but there was no way I was going to be able to pick that up with my current abilities. There is something you can pick up later that allows you to get it, but at the start you don't have it, so you have to come back for those later. So that, in a nutshell, is the core gameplay of Castlevania Spectral Interlude. So there's not really much more to say about it without giving away points. I did recently get to the end of the game, and generally I was very impressed with what the programmers managed to achieve. I mean, look how much colour they managed to put into this, despite the Spectrum's severe colour attribute limitations of only two colours per 8x8 pixel character square, and there's hardly any clash. Yeah. Again, I can't jump high enough to reach those platforms. There's some power-ups I'd have to get before I could jump up there. No, I'm going to wait there, because otherwise that would knock me off and I have to go back that way anyway. So yeah, really impressive graphics and use of colour in this game. And the sound effects and music are generally good considering the Spectrum's limitations. The AY chip, very nice. Gameplay, well, generally the controls are responsive. So occasional things like double tapping in a direction to get certain things to happen. It can occasionally be hard to do to not do that accidentally. So as you can see, my whip icon in the top left corner has a chain link to the right. That's the one I've just picked up. And here's the blacksmith. Now I've got one of those chain links. The door is now open. It was closed earlier. So here's Marcus the blacksmith. Again, I'm going to skip through this. So I'm going to pay 30 gold. So as you can see, if you manage to bring other resources to him as well, he'll power up the whip. So my whip's a fraction longer than it was now. So now what I'll be doing is going to the temple to pray at the statue, so if I die I won't lose the progress I've just made. Then I'll wind up the review. So this is Castlevania Spectral Interlude, published by Rewind team for the 128k Spectra in 2015. Generally very well done game. Really impressed for the most part, even though it does have some aspects that drove me insane during my recent playthrough of it. Graphics very impressive, makes great use of colour with hardly any clash. And I never at any point saw any projectiles or anything like, or enemies that were too hard to see due to a complicated background. I don't think I ever had that problem during my playthrough, and so kudos to the programmers for managing to get around that potential issue. Oh, and that's another thing I forgot to mention. If you press the Naught key, you can call up a map and see where you've been, as well as where you can potentially go. even if you can't go in those directions immediately. So I've already been through the graphics and the sound, so gameplay wise, as I said, by and large the controls are very responsive, and although as I said, things which involve double tapping a direction can occasionally be done accidentally, due to anticipation or something similar. And as I said, some of the collision detection is a little bit ropey, which is a bit of a shame. So yeah, again, that werewolf didn't touch me, yet the game thought it did. There was clearly a gap between me and that monster. And I would have liked it if at the start the health bar could have been a bit longer than it is. You can't really take, at the start you really can't take that many hits, but there are things you can pick up to lengthen that health bar, so which is good because you will need them. And it's also annoying if you... Oops. See you. Oh, I wasn't expecting it to put me back there. I'm glad it did, though. Damn it. That item on the ledge there is one of the things that would have extended my health bar a bit, but anyway, I digress. So even though, and oh yeah, and the other flaw is the fact that pressing M to use a secondary weapon doesn't always use just one each time you press it. Some, as you saw earlier, it used 3 even though I only pressed it once. I've even seen it use as many as 5, and other times it can say you've still got 5 hearts, effectively 5 of any particular weapon you've currently purchased, and it still won't let you throw them because it thinks you're throwing multiple, presumably because of that same bug. That could have done with being fixed so that one press, 1 heart being expended. But if you can get around those niggles, I think fans of the Castlevania series and fans of this genre of game in general, I think they're going to have a ball with this game. It's just that those niggles prevent me from being able to give this game a 9. But with things as they are, I'd happily give it an 8. But it would have definitely got a 9 if it weren't for in particular the collision detection and the health bar being a bit short at the start, and the pressing of the M button to use a secondary weapon, often using more than one, even when you only pressed it once. So hope you enjoyed this review of Castlevania Spectral Interlude. Hope to catch you on another video soon. Texie88 out.